Big up, folks. Welcome back. We are going in off the deep end again. Continuing with the Toxoplasmosis gondii research and bringing more supporting evidence to the fact that this parasite and its influence on human behavior has a highly significant place in history, culture, and even today there are very commonplace indicators that it may still be in practice on some level. In fact, to the extent I would even say of being weaponized against the masses. So we will point out that the Cathars of 1240s, you know, they have that CAT, cat. Also the Catholic Church has the CAT. You know, you could even call it the Cat-hol-lic Church. I won't go into that. I'll just float that out there for everybody to interpret. But the Cathars were known to be cat worshippers. They did use the cat in their initiation rituals. And as a result, the Catholic Church put out a papal decree, a papal bull against the Cathars that initiated essentially a aggression against black cats in particular, and they accused cats of being satanic. And that papal bull was Vox in Rama. That means the voice of the ram. And the citizenry responded by the mass killing of cats. It's a horrific story. And from that point on, for almost 100 years, I guess 80 years, there was a extinction of cats, a program to extinguish cats in society that all led into culminated with the Black Death, as there were no cats to chase the rats, and the rats brought in plagues and diseases, and people began to die in the millions, allegedly, as we are told. So essentially, the Black Death became, ironically, a cat-ass trophy. The cat's ass trophy. Because the cats got the last laugh as humans overreacted to the practice of worshiping cats. So I will move into almost 80 years from that point. We have the Knights Templar and the story of Jacques de Molay and his offense against King Philip of France. So Jacques de Molay was using the cat initiation ritual for his neophytes, for the newcomers, the initiates of the Knights Templar, and essentially King Philip sent in spies because he knew there was some kind of suspect behavior from his court. The members of his court and the influencers of his community were showing a tendency to allege to something other than the king and other than the pope. There was quite a bit of animosity between Philip and the papacy. King Philip was implicated in some assassinations against papal powers in the past. But the Knights Templar were amassing quite a bit of influence. And King Philip, it is said, some believe that King Philip wanted to become a Knights Templar, and that Jacques de Molay rejected him and told him he was not allowed to become an initiate, and sparked much animosity from King Phil. King Phil sent in some spies to be initiated, and the spies came back and reported that there was a process of spitting on and walking upon the crucifix in their initiation rite, thereby denouncing their allegiance to the king and to the pope. And Another ritual involved the kissing of a cat's ass. And that, to many people who heard about this in that time period, that would have been an echo back to the Cathars and the practices of the Cathars and this vox in Rama, voice from the ram. So King Philip filled out the reports and sent out a letter to Pope Clement. He also sent a letter to the King of England of the time, telling them that the Knights Templar, they got to go. If you got Knights Templar in your city, you got to round them up, and we're going to burn these fools. So Pope Clement, he released a papal bull, an echo of this voice of the ram, and in 1312 he put out vox in excelso, which means voice on high. And the voice on high basically denounced the Knights Templar, put them on public enemy number one, essentially. And vox in excelso is very profound to me. It means voice on high, and it was released on 3/22. That is the first day after the spring equinox. It's a very powerful day to launch a spell, to put out the magic words of your intention for the following years. It also, 1312 is quite a significant little number there. But voice on high, I couldn't help but think about Donald Trump's final tweet there with the his Twitter account was giant voice, and it was in all caps. So some could interpret this phrase as voice on high, which is a giant voice, all in caps, voice on high. DT, Donald Trump, that's 47, very Masonic number, also the atomic number of silver. We won't get into that too much. But I can't help but see, giant voice is his final words. And also we have, right here we have CV322. I pointed that out before. And then we have vox in. And I think a lot of people know what I'm getting at here. Very significant, very significant. Strange twilight language, to be sure. So, wanted to point out a couple coinkydinks here. Jacques Molay was born, it's not absolutely sure, it said in the 1240s-ish, and he died at 1314. Here we go with some interesting sequences. 1314 kind of leads to that 31415 pi. A lot of people believe that this was not really a 1, and that this was the year of our Lord J, and that's where that 1 comes from. But I won't get into that too much. That's Anatoly Flamenco and the mysterious 1,000 added years to history. But I just couldn't help but notice he did die on a date that indicates pi. And his birth date there, the 124, kind of nods back to this Cathar, the year of the Cathars and the Inquisition. But 124 is a sequence of numbers here in the Enneagram, in the Vortex Math Enneagram. 1, 2 leads to the 4. And even here, 1, 2, 4, 4, that's 1, 2, 4 plus 4 brings you up to the 8. So here we have, some historic significance tying into this Enneagram, and let's just go there while I got your ear and we're focused on it. The 9, has much to do with the cat of 9 tails, in which the Opus Dei thrashes themselves, testing their threshold for pain in preparation for death, and self-flagellating themselves to prove their faith to God. And it's a warrior's preparation to not fear pain. And that is a cat of 9 tails testing your threshold. You know, going back again to that lion's den. In preparation to meet the king. You know, you're getting ready to meet the king. You're enduring the pain. And that has everything to do with toxoplasmosis gondii. And eventually I will tie that into DMT. So we do have much to do with preparation for death and meeting the Most High. So we're covered a lot of ground here. I'm going to keep on keeping on. So we've done the Knights Templar cat ritual, the Cathars ritual. All of this causing a absence of a void in the cat population and leading to the Black Death. The Black Death was sparked off in the 1340s, right after, or soon after, Jacques de Molay's death, about 20 years or so after. You know, this is a second wave of cat mutilation practice becoming common. People literally would have events where people would bring their cats and burn them in huge fires, which kind of goes back to Egyptian cat worshipping fire ritual, where the cats would burn, and the toxoplasmosis gondii inside the cats would become fumigated and then wash over the population, who would spread even faster. And the people around those fires would be infected with toxoplasmosis gondii, leading to schizophrenia, mass schizophrenia. So it's quite the recipe for disaster, for a catastrophe. So here I just want to point out this 47 again, you know, the DT, that's silver. That's the moon pillar they're talking about there, 47. But in 1347, a couple ships landed in port that were completely loaded up with pestilence. And all of this, I believe, all builds to, you know, Revelations and the first horseman. I believe that this Revelations has happened in the past and potentially is being built up to happen again. You know, the history is doomed to repeat. I just want to point out the first horseman, you know, he wears the crown and he wields a bow. And in Greek, the Bible comes from, originally was written in Greek. The word bow in Greek is taxo. And so the first horseman wears a corona and carries a taxo. This has everything to do with, and he is the first horseman, which is initiation, the beginning of the process. So the first wave of Revelations has to do with a crown, and it has to do with toxins. And hopefully that brings people's consciousness into modern day context. I think you know where I'm going. I'm not trying to get too biblical, but I am saying that there are people who have plans to make that book come true, whether you believe in it or not. And those people are highly influential. And they use the vaccine to spread their word, the voice on high, to spread that intention. On very special days, CV, vaccine. You know what I'm getting at. So I just want to point out most recent studies have proven they spent much money, so much money, to find out and publicize that, you know, toxocondii kills some babies in utero. I do believe that Rh negative babies can survive, but Rh positive babies will pass away. And so in that context, it is a means of separating the blood right of kings, the babies who deserve to live, and those who are of a separate blood type will die. It has an increase in risky behavior. This one is highly significant. They researched a large population of motorcycle accidents where the motorcycle riders had passed away. There was 80% of them were testing positive for toxoplasmosis gondii. This indicates a propensity for risky behavior, which is something that Knights Templar would venerate in a new initiate. They would want their initiate to be willing to take on missions that were highly risky and endanger their own life. And another much lesser known component of toxoplasmosis is gender identity disorder, gender dysphoria, and schizophrenia, which is just being crazy and not having a firm grasp on reality. And an ancient term for gender identity disorder is metamorphosis paranoica sexualis. And as soon as I saw that term metamorphosis, my mind went straight to Ovid. And sure enough, when I dug a little deeper online, I was able to find out that Ovid Technologies, Inc. was quite interested in this research. And they had gone to some cities in foreign lands where there was a high population of feral cats. And they had proven that Toxoplasmosis gondii was quite prolific in those populations, and that those populations were expressing mass gender identity dysphoria as a result of their proximity to feral cats. Now, part of the reason why I even know what Ovid means, I began reading Ovid when this plague, this pandemic came into existence. I couldn't help but see that Ovid was highly significant in our modern day mythology. I know you dig what I'm saying. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace and love.